Shoeless Jack Dolan. No, that's not right. It's Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Shoeless Joe APBA baseball tournament. Jack Dolan is with us today. He's giving the APBA community a real incredible gift here. September 10th, the inaugural Shoeless Joe baseball tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. The field, the game afterward. It's an incredible experience. Thank you, Jack, for sharing some insights with us today.
Sure, absolutely.
It's around this time 9 years ago that we were writing about the summer of 2013. It's become kind of a legend for the initial onslaught of these not quite the right word, but the inception of a lot of these regional tournaments that really bring folks together. And you actually have been to some of these other tournaments, correct?
I've only been to the national tournament like 6 times because I live kind of close, but there's nothing down south really. But I've also been to just last week in Chicagoland, which was a blast. That's why I get this hat, from the dogs. I always thought it was like river dogs or a real dog, but it's a hot dog. I mean, the team is actually named after the minor league team is named after a hot dog, and never saw that before. So I had to have a hot dog, so I had one there too.
Nice.
But Rob Spatz did a superb job of running that, and I kind of wanted to go there to see how he ran his tournament, so I can get some experience of, grab some experience from him, just kind of learn from him. So it was good. It was he did a fabulous job. Just lots of work. I enjoy organizing. I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So, but also at the same time, I mean, I'm a history guy. I love early baseball. I love, books, reading books and reading history about it. I tell you, and I'm living in it. I'm living in Greenville. So, I've played on, I've actually ran my own over 30 baseball league, where it was more for fun. I got it up to 8 teams and then eventually I had to sell it. But, I had a blast on it. We actually played on the Shoeless Joe Jackson Memorial Field, which is in sort of like downtown Greenville. It's near the mill that he used to work at as a teenager. And the field is kind of backwards now. It's where home plate is today is where the outfield was. But anyway, but that's something that, if people have time on Friday night, if they arrive early, hey, let's go check out the field. There's lots to see here. So lots to do here. And Greenville is just a booming city. And it's like a jewel in the South. Nobody knows about it. It's downtown is gorgeous. Lots of boutiques for shopping. Lots of really good restaurants. Becoming quickly known as a foodie. As a foodie city. Good foodie restaurants or something. But one of the guys who just signed up for the restaurant said, "Hey, I'm bringing my wife, and this other friend is coming down, and his wife is coming too. Do you recommend any restaurants?" I had like 8 of them just to go. So anyway, probably went way overboard on that answer, but just excited to have everybody down. It's a great place.
And as I saw, you had about 18 folks already signed up.
Yeah, we have 17 plus me. I figure, the averages probably would be 2 to 3 drop out, 2 to 3 more, come in, right? My goal is 20. It's always been 20. If I get a few more, a few less, I'm okay with that. So yeah, right now I'm sitting at 17 for sure. But again, we're a good month away from, a month and a week away from the actual tournament. So yeah, we'll see.
Now, is there a capacity limit?
I mean, we could fit 50 in the room I've got. The room, it's a room for events. It's mainly for the season ticket holders. It's got a small bar area on the side, but the room is it's called the front porch at the Fluor Field. Basically, if you can imagine home plate, the stands, and then underneath the stands, towards the front where the stadium kind of curves, right? I mean, all stadiums curve this way, right? That front area that faces the streets, so faces the corner of the streets, is called the front porch. So we have that room for the tournament starting at 8 o'clock. The tournament starts at 8:30, but you can walk in at 8 o'clock and you got to be out by 4:30. So we're going to be rolling fast, which is why I like the era that I chose, because it's all A pitchers. Right, you're gonna get a lot of outs, and also there's no relievers, and so you just got to leave them in. It becomes a B, becomes a C, whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how people manage their teams.
Awesome.
So,
That's
anyway,
awesome. So
yeah,
eligible teams are 1901 to 1929. The 27 Yankees excluded.
correct. They're just too good. I mean, way too good. And so that's all there is to it. There's no other reason. It's just that they're that good. So
Interesting, interesting. And I will post the link to your Google Doc of the rules. But there's one very critical rule, and see if I can get something that's called
yeah,
there's no wiggling here.
right. Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, so I've seen a lot of people, this is wiggling, this is shaking. And then what they do, is they lay it down, right? And that's not shaking. Shaking is this, 2 or 3 times, boom. I'm not, in the tournaments I've been in, I've never said a word. Okay, especially face to face, playing the game. I let them do what they want. But and I don't really believe that any of us cheat. But the thing is, if you're going to shake it. I mean, if you're going to roll bad, it's going to roll bad. If it's going to roll good, it's going to roll good. I've done both. Actually, I want to show you something. I just got it yesterday. I got to post this up on Facebook. But I got the home run derby champion
Beautiful.
that I luckily, I mean, I don't believe in luck, but the dice just was in my favor for some reason. And I got the bat, and I'm telling you, I was on a roll. That's all it was. I mean, I was just hitting the numbers. And that last game, I was playing Roger Maris, and the other guy was playing Roger Maris too. Different copyright date, but we both had the exact same chances. And bottom of the 10th, I happened to roll the extra home run, and that was it. So that's all it was. There's nothing more than that. So, and I believe that for every single game we play in APBA, it comes down to dice rolls, and let the probabilities come out. Let them show themselves. That's it.
Right.
So,
and when you are shaking, I mean, you kind of got to dice have to hit the thumb, right, or
right,
some part of the. Are you going to
right.
have?
They got
have,
yeah, they got to move. And the thing is, I'm not enforcing this rule. Okay, that's the thing. But I am telling any player, any participant, they can enforce it if they want to. Hey, man, can you just shake the dice, please? One, this isn't shaking. Jack said so. Right. So at least that's there, and that way it's on the table, and I get it off my chest, and I feel better. So that's all.
Nice. So you're going to roll the
Anyway.
games, and then you've got you can tour the museum, the Shoeless Joe Museum, and you've got tickets to the game that night.
Correct. And if
Awesome.
anybody wants extra tickets, I've got them. Like for their wife or spouse or girlfriend or whatever. So or boyfriend if you got a girl playing. Right now I don't think we do, but certainly fine. It's good to. I mean, first of all, it's a great stadium. It's only about 10 years old, 11 years old. It has the same exact dimensions as Fenway Park. So it's got the green monster. If you've never heard the ball come off the monster, it's kind of cool because it makes a pretty loud thunk. And the left fielders have to know how to play that thing, and so it's kind of cool. I think that's because all the Boston Red Sox, minor league teams now have, Fenway Park dimensions. So it's not just Greenville. I think it's all of them. I think they've done that for all of them. But you're not going to get any closer to the field. The only tough thing about any minor league baseball team, you don't know the players, but this it used to be low A, now it's regular A, so it's moved up, but they still have the first part of the season and the second part of the season, and because a lot of players will move up sometime in mid-season, near the All-Star break, and so they'll have a championship game where the first the team that won the first part of the season will play the team that won the last part of the season. We had that championship game here, or series here. I think it was 1 or 2 games, 2 of 3 or something like that here, like 3 years ago. So they rotate just like everything. So anyway, it's a great stadium. I mean, the tickets we have are right behind the third base dugout. I want to say a couple rows up, 2 or 3 rows up. But there's no bad seat in the house. There really isn't. So one thing that the stadium is also going to have that day, starting we're gonna have. Let me just say this too. If you are staying at the hotel that I have at the bottom of the rules, Uber in. Okay, don't drive in. Finding parking that morning is going to be tough for two reasons. One, they have some kind of fireman's run. The fireman's run is where firemen from all over the region, out of state, all over the South, they come to Greenville to run up and down over 100 flights of stairs, to represent, to remember, to memorialize 9/11 and the firemen that had to go through that. So, and they're doing it in full gear. So it's not simple. They do it in full gear and they're trying to get up 100, up and down 100 flights. That starts at 9:14 or whenever that second plane hit. They're going to ring a bell and everybody's going to start running. They just run up and down the steps. Now, we're going to start at 8:30. I'm hoping to get one game in, and then I'll let everybody go outside, up to the stadium and kind of watch it start. And it doesn't end till like 2 o'clock. I mean, guys are still running, at 1 or 2 o'clock. So it's a very moving event from what I hear. Yeah. So that's going on at the same time. And we're going to give a few minutes for people checking it out, our guys.
Excellent. That's amazing.
No, the second reason no parking is Clemson has their football game that weekend. And it's about 35, 40 miles away, but hotels are packed and some guys, carpool it out there and, Route 123 becomes this Clemson parade in a sense. So it's, going out to Clemson from Greenville. So it's, that'll be another reason why it'd be hard to find parking. And that's why I got the hotel about, 5 to 10 miles away, because downtown it's like $350 a night just because of the game. So I got a good rate at like 125 that includes a full breakfast. So, but you gotta get it before August 8th. You gotta reserve it before August 8th.
All right.
So
there you go. Your tournament organizer is looking out for you folks. These are the kind of things you have to think about. But how long had you been thinking about doing this, and how long did it take to put together?
I've been thinking about doing something like this for like 2 to 3 years. You just don't jump into it. I mean, like when I ran my own baseball league, when I started that, I probably thought about it for 4 or 5 years. And, for that to get started with all the equipment, because it was a little different than this. But I mean, I took $5,000 of the bank and just, called that startup money, And the other thing is that, as far as doing these things, finding a big enough room. I'm thinking about the church across the street next year, just giving them a nice donation. It won't cost as much as the room that we have at the field. But then in reverse, get tickets on top of the Green Monster next year, so that way they can enjoy a game from, they can say, I've been on a Green Monster before and it won't be much different. But that way I could I would offset the cost of the room quite a bit. And that way I might be able to bring the fee down from 65 to something like 45 or something where, they can still get a Green Monster seat, but we're doing that in a room in a church, and I'll give them a nice donation doesn't cost as much as the room does, So that's a thought, I'm going to take a poll when everybody's there. What do you think of this room? Do you think we ought to have it here next year? Or we'll point out the window and say, how about over there? And I haven't even talked to the church, but we'll find something if they feel that we should not have that room next year and get something that's much cheaper, and that way the fees come down, right? Who knows? We might get more people. So
that's it.
But I liked it that we were in a stadium. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a regional tournament inside a stadium.
Right.
And so that's something I just wanted to give a shot and see what people think. So
for sure.
Right.
And there are a lot. I mean, right around the corner from us, we get the Yogi Berra Museum here at the Jackals independent team. I mean, that's just a great. I had looked into some things there. It's and just all you got to do is just reach out. They're happy to work with you. I mean, these events teams are great, right?
Yeah, they are. I mean, when you talk to the sales teams for the minor league teams, and this is the second one I've talked to, but they can be. They got a quota just like everybody else, right? They gotta try to sell you, and you can try to negotiate here and there, but for 20 people, we're not going to get very far. If I had 60 to 100 people, yeah, I mean, I could really do some damage there. But and the other thing is they have a porch. They can actually be where you can watch the game and stuff, and it's outdoors. does have a ceiling, but it's still outdoors. So if it's windy, it wouldn't work. So you just can't take the risk, right? So and a lot of clubs or ball fields have something like that somewhere. So
For sure. Now you've been running, or you at least this year, I don't forget how many years you've run the soccer tournament at the official APBA tournament. Just wondering if any kind of tips, any kind of thoughts about what you do there, if you'll bring some of that know-how into this event as well.
It's a bit, well, it's kind of the same but different in a way. They both kind of run group stage, is what soccer calls it, where you run, it's usually 4 teams and the top 2 teams advance, right? What we're doing, just like most baseball tournaments, is we'll have 2 divisions of 8 or 9, and you play 8 or 9 games, something like that. And then at the end of that, you either have 2 or I'm going to have actually 4 teams move up. So even if we have 8 or 9, half the teams have a chance to make the playoffs, and then it's single elimination, which to me just gives everybody a chance. And don't forget, it's all about rolling the dice that game. So if your dice don't roll, that's too bad. I mean, I just played yesterday. A friend of mine, we met at Panera yesterday morning, and we played the 68. We played the 68 World Series over. Didn't do the whole thing. We just played a couple of games. But I tell you, man, I was playing the the Cardinals, and Bob Gibson was on fire, and he won the game 2-1. And the next game, the Cardinals couldn't hit anything. They couldn't hit a thing. It was just the dice, And actually, the Detroit actually, he ended up, the other guy actually, just started rolling doubles, just boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, my pitcher, I think it was what's his name? Sealand, something like that. I can't remember his name. By the way, I didn't like baseball until I was 36. So
Yeah.
didn't even watch it, didn't follow it, didn't care, So it wasn't until like 96, 97, 98 is when I started really watching it, really enjoyed it. And then I started reading about the history. I've read Bob Gibson's books about his no-hitter in the World Series in 68. I think it was a no-hitter, right? But it was inning by inning by inning, and that was so interesting hearing what's up in his head, before he threw pitches. And the great thing is he actually recounted everything by watching the game on TV or a replay, and then and he would just recall all this stuff, what he was thinking, talked about Curt Flood and everything he went through. So it's really, I mean, it's not just about pitch by pitch, but it's also about the dynamics of the team. And so that's what I love about APBA, is that you can take these characters, these people that because you've read all these books, and you can have the Black Sox play the 27 Yankees or the 1998 Yankees, or you can play. And I know the eras are different, the pitching's different. Still, you can play them. I mean, who's to say you can't? And the imagination goes beyond so and so's on first and so's on second and so's at the plate and this guy's pitching with these 2 guys in the bullpen. I mean, that imagination stuff is great, but then the color commentation comes in too, because these players. You know what I'm saying? It just makes it more fun. That's all. That's how I look at it. So I know a lot of people, they just replay their childhood, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But where imagination comes in is, Christy Mathewson actually gives up Merkel. You know what I'm saying? He actually did it. So what if something, and the good thing is the referees or the umps are never wrong in our league. They're always right. There's no controversial calls. But just knowing that about Christy Mathewson and that the league president actually said, all right, we're going to replay the game because of what Mathewson said, so that blows me away. But it's great. It's a good piece of, character history, about baseball. So that's why The Natural is always going to be my favorite movie.
Nice.
Always.
Nice. So
anyway.
Well,
I'm going way off track. Anyway.
No, that's great. No, so now, did you start your APBA life before or after that? Then, I mean,
so I had a weird start. I was stationed in the Air Force in Germany, 1984. Bored as anything, I mean, just bored. I mean, when you're over there, you got no money because you get paid very little. You can't do much. I saw an ad in some kind of magazine or paper about APBA. So I went ahead and sent away for it and got it in the big wide box with the full 1983 season. And little did I know about, hey, Cal Ripken's can become Hall of Famer and all that stuff. But I got that set, and I must have played 4 games, basic game, must have played 4 games. And I loved it, but couldn't find anybody else to play with me. Even though we're all bored out there, I just couldn't find the baseball. And I was playing soccer with both a local German team as well as the base team. So I really wasn't friends with a lot of baseball guys, more soccer guys than anything else. So fast forward to when I started my men's baseball league here in Greenville back in 2007. Gus Walser, he's one of the guys. I just couldn't get the guy out. He would hit me every day. He would just wait on my slow curve, right? Hanging curve. But anyway, at the end of one of the seasons, he said, Jack, I got this computer game. Would you like to join? Would you like to be in it? I said, I might be interested in that. And sure enough, I joined and didn't know what it was and still didn't know what it was, even playing for 10 or 15 games. And I saw this little thing says view card, and I double clicked on it. I was like, I know this game. I know this game. This is that game I had back in the service. And so it's just not only, but shortly after that, I sold the league that I was in and just really got focused in on, APBA. The funny thing is I always had these kind of weird hobbies, like very expensive hobbies. And my wife, I came home after I sold the league and I said, well, I sold the league. And she says, yeah, but now what are you going to get into? Because I'm always going to get into something, right? Because actually, right after I sold the league, I got more to disc golf and APBA, but then I threw disc golf out the window and figuratively and literally. But anyway, kind of threw it out the window and just started playing APBA. So since then, it's been APBA everything. And most people know me as the soccer guy, believe it or not. But I kind of do it all. So I've played a lot of football, a lot of solo football. I have a lot of courses for the golf game. I don't enjoy it as much, probably because I haven't figured out the cards yet. Although I just finished talking to what's his name, Zachary Zavala, I think Zach Zavala. His father's Norm Zavala. I just met him at the Chicagoland tournament. He was also in our soccer tournament this past year, and he kind of gave me an idea how to read the cards. So now I'm gonna go back next time and take a look at them and try a game or two. But I've also got horse racing game, the saddle racing game. I've got the bowling game, believe it or not. I don't have the boxing, and I don't ever plan on buying the basketball game. So I'm just one of those guys that listens. So it's not as fun. Anyway.
Oh my goodness! I'll make a point to put our interview with Ron Emsch and a link to his videos for his golf tutorials. Apparently,
awesome!
If there are certain points. I think Mark Garabedian was saying this. If you the better roll you have on the golf cart, it can actually hurt you a little more. Too much power where you don't want it, kind of a thing. Yep. So, well, that's good. You're a football guy. You can join us if you want to come up to Canton. We're doing this again next year, our football tournament. What's your collection like now? I mean, you just kind of ran through it, but like in terms of specific season sets.
I've got, well, you can see I bought that thing for $2,000, had to drive to Cleveland to pick it up.
Wow.
So, yeah. And you can see that I've got it mostly full now already. But all the stuff on the upper half is the baseball seasons. I've got 2 or 3 seasons in the upper left because they're so small. I can fit 2 or 3 seasons in each. Sure. But I've probably got 35 seasons. That's all. I mean, I say that's all because there's a lot of guys, especially go to the convention, they have every season, and some guys are on their second round of buying season, because they want all the copyright dates, right? Yeah. And then the bottom I've got, kind of like, the top is all the soccer seasons, including Bundesliga, some MLS, all the EPL except for the first season, I think, first couple of seasons. And the bottom 2 rows are all football.
Nice.
So, yeah, and I just bought the 59 season because I just finished reading the first season, which was about Vince Lombardi's first season of 59, the Green Bay Packers, which was great. It was a great book.
Nice.
So, Anyway,
Excellent.
yeah,
Awesome.
and then yeah, it doesn't include. I mean, it doesn't include some other stuff over here where I have, all the golf's over there, and a couple other things are over there on the set left hand side too. So
Now you mentioned
anyway,
your 68, a couple games of the 68 you did at Panera. Do you have any personal projects in the offing outside of the Shoeless Joe tournament? Do you have some, replay projects for one or more of the games?
so I don't do replays, and it's mainly because I keep hearing nobody finishes them, and I do not like not finishing something. The other thing is I don't have a favorite season like a lot of people do. I would say 98 Orioles, 97 Orioles would be close enough for me because I didn't like baseball at all. I thought it was a sissy sport. And my father-in-law, just trying to get close to him, I went up to his room one day when we were visiting, and he was watching the Orioles game on a little tiny black and white TV. Jim Palmer was doing the color commentating, and he's originally from Vermont. And he's like, man, I can't. I mean, he doesn't say anything at all. So trying to get to know the guy a little bit, and just sitting there with him, and said, if you don't like Jim Palmer's commentating, why don't you turn the radio down and you do the color commentating? Tell me what's going on. And I couldn't shut him up. I mean, I could not shut him up. And it was so funny, but at the same time, I was amazed because, to me, between pitchers, there's nothing going on. But when he's like, Alan Mills is he's middle relief, got so and so in the bullpen. And I remember Alan Mills only because he used to bang the baseball up against his cup, while he's waiting for the sign, right? So it's like, what is he doing that for? I mean, here I am, not a baseball fan as much, but he was telling me like, Sozon's a first, counts 1-1. It's a good stealing pitch. I mean, it could be a good stealing pitch or something. Or might, he would say things based on the situation, who's on deck, who's in the bullpen, and then boom, there's the next pitch, right? Now it's 1-2 because he got a strike. Now it's not a good time to steal, and he just keeps going. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so one day, about 2 weeks later, my brother and I finished a softball game, and we were at 7-Eleven. This guy walks up to us, a friend of his, and he says, Doug, hey man, you guys play softball? I need some baseball players for my men's team. And I couldn't even let him finish the sentence. I'm in. I got to play baseball. I got to do this. So I practiced for like 3 weeks before my first game. First at bat, hit a ball right up the middle over the pitcher's head, standing on first, going, okay, I'm hooked. And I played for probably about 10 years, including the years up there and the years up there in Maryland and the years here in South Carolina when I started my league. And I also went to a couple of fantasy camps, like three fantasy camps down in Florida. So yeah, I got the bug really bad, but late. That's all. It's just late. But
That's interesting.
hey, I can still say I had a man on first and third. I came in as a relief pitcher, no outs, got all 3 outs, no runs. I mean, that's as a guy that only had like a 65-mile-an-hour fastball and a curveball that would still drop like 2 feet, which was kind of bragging. But most people couldn't hit it except Gus. Gus could hit it every single time. I mean, I just couldn't throw it to him. But otherwise, had a weak slider. But the cool thing is I'm able to say that because even at age 42, I was out playing ball. And so I encourage everybody, if you're still somewhat athletic, don't jump right into it. Take your time, get in shape. Men's senior baseball leagues are everywhere. Check them out. They are kind of expensive, but it's worth it if you love the game. So I'm 59, I'm almost 60. I can't play anymore. I've had a number of heart attacks. I'm not going to do that anymore. So I got to take it easy.
Now that's interesting that you are a player or you played the game. With that experience, how would you gauge the things that APBA baseball, basic or master, kind of captures best about the actual on-field experience?
Well, I love stats. I'll compile all the stats after just about every game, even if it's just a, quick, this is my table here where I play my games, right behind me. So I'll just pull out a couple random teams, play a game, and I'll still do all the stats. So I like it because at least for the batters, the stats are really close, right? as far as the pitching over a long period of time, they're pretty close. Okay? It's not too bad as far as, ERA and stuff like that. Where, and this is the same for other baseball games that I've played too. You got a 1 on a lot of cards where they can always hit a home run. So if you've got a pitcher that only gave up 2 home runs a year, right, you're never going to match that stat. Not for the pitcher, at least, right? So, but that's the way it goes. I mean, you can't make a perfect, game, but I think it's close enough. I do like a lot of the aspects of the master game, although I don't play it near as much. I play it with Gus when we get together. And I love doing that because every time I play that, I get more and more used to it. But I got to get to it where it's like basic, where I just have, about a third of the board's already memorized, right? And just you can fly through games, 15, 20 minutes per game. And then that's because I want to get to the stats. I want to see after a 7-game season, series or something, I want to see where I'm at. So I don't play replays. I play tournaments. I do my own tournaments a lot of times. I had at one point, I think it was 16 teams when I had 16 seasons, and I took all the World Series teams of my seasons and just did a big tournament. But I did it soccer style where put them in groups of 4 and they had to play each other, best of 2 out of 3 or something, or no, they had to play 3 games, period. And and so that's 9 games per team, and the top 2 teams moved on. And then I played a bracket, best of 2. And then when I got to the semifinals, best of 5, and then the finals was best of 7. And of course, 27 Yankees won it. That's one of the reasons why, even though I had all those teams from all those different eras, the Yankees still came out on top. So it's pretty amazing. So that was fun. One of the tournaments that I just thought of the other day, and I might do it at the convention, and I want to call it Random GTOP. And so I've got, 4 sets, the first 4 sets of great teams of the past. And what I want to do is just, at the convention, maybe Wednesday night, since we've now expanded it to Wednesdays.
Right.
Maybe Wednesday night, maybe Friday night late. Hey, anybody want to play in a single, bracket, sort of like the home run derby, single bracket, GTOP blind tournament.
Yeah.
And what that is I'll have all the teams in a bucket,
Just pick
and
them.
I'll walk around and everybody's sitting down face to face and just pull them out.
Nice.
Okay, you got a great team. Let's see what you can do with it.
Yeah,
So and it'd be a lot of dependency on the dice, right?
Yeah.
But it's that way it's a random winner in a sense every year. It's not somebody that just goes out and finds the best team, what I call APBA ball, right?
Yeah.
So and I play APBA ball when I go to the convention. I'm not shy about it. I mean, you spend a lot of money to get there. You want a chance to do something, but at the same time, it's really the people.
Right.
So I've come to love everybody there. So just a great group of guys, and the new guys. I mean, so I encourage everybody to show up there if they can.
Yep, for sure. But in the interim, you have to check out the Shoeless Joe APBA baseball tournament. Is there anything that people should bring or don't need to bring? I mean, I think you spelled this out, but just to.
Yeah, I would like everybody to bring. First of all, you're using my dice. Okay, you can't use your own dice. You can use your own shaker, tower, whatever. And as long as the dice are shaking and moving, I'm good with it. So that's my little rule. But as far as I can have score sheets there. You can bring your own. I will have books there, but I encourage you to bring your own just in case we don't have as many. I think I've got like 8 or 9 already, which is all we need for 10. We'll need 10. I mean, if we have 20 teams, we'll need 10, right? But bring some anyway. Keep in mind that we have our draft tomorrow. The way we're going to do the draft is, when your name, I'm going to randomly choose an order, and then when your name comes up, you get to choose a team in that era, and then no one else can choose that team from then on, right? So that way we just choose the teams. Now, remember when choosing your teams, this is, I don't want to say it's small ball in a sense because it gets into some home run hitting in the 20s, but pitching was very different. You can have pitchers that, they're used to going the whole game. And if they didn't finish their game, then they were looked down on upon their managers, their teammates, everybody else. And I'm not trying to tell everybody to play that way, but sometimes you will be forced to play that way if you get like 1905, Giants. It was a very, very good team, but there's not a whole lot on the bench. And so if your A drops down to a B, that's probably what happened in the real game. It's probably better than bringing a C reliever, something like that. So keep that in mind as far as the pitching goes. And one of the reasons the pitchers do have to bat, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I say no injuries. All right, because I don't want a pitcher to get injured. So I'd rather the pitcher stay in the game and not have to force a C pitcher to come in the third inning or something. So anyway, that's the biggest thing I would encourage everybody to watch out for. Those later 20 teams do have some relievers, and I do have a maximum of 1 inning for A pitchers and 2 innings for B pitchers. So you're still limited, right? So just keep in mind that it's not like a lot of tournaments where we're playing a lot of teams from, let's say, the 50s and beyond, where you have a lot of relievers that can come in right at the 6th inning, and they can replace a B with an A. And you got 3 A's sitting on the bench. You can finish the game pretty much, So you can't do that. You just keep that in mind for the new people that haven't really been playing in tournaments, and that haven't done this before. If this is your first tournament, that's one piece of advice. I'm going to learn some things, from this tournament too. We're all going to learn something. This is the first one, so let's play it out, and we'll make decisions for next year, right? So, yeah, be interesting.
It's going to be great. Thank you for pulling this together. It's a real great idea. It gives APBA a little extra of its due in a really great high profile, pretty, high profile, good profile venue with all the ancillary things. It's a real, camaraderie building exercise. And so we hope everyone enjoys it. Take a lot of photos. Will you have any, will you do a little live Zoom out of there for us?
We might. I mean, most of the people that are going to be there are playing, and right now I'm playing too. So we'll do what we can. That's what Ron Amsh is great at. I mean, it'd be great to have him down, but he's got a lot going up there. I'm going to his tournament the end of this month. It should be a blast. He's got a great tournament. I think it's like 6 or 7 or 8 years now. So yeah. So I'm going to really enjoy that. Everybody knows Ron, loves Ron. I mean, he's just a great person, and he's an all-around gamer. When we went to Chicago, he was sitting in the dining room area, and he was around 3 other guys playing a game. And it wasn't a baseball, it wasn't a sports game. It was called Colorado, and it's just a card game with colors on their cards, and that's it. And it was fascinating how much strategy there was in this thing. But that's Ron. He gets into any strategy game, and he's always he makes it fun. He enjoys teaching. He enjoys just playing games. So anyway, I encourage anybody to check out his tournament as well. It's up in Toledo. It's happening on the 27th of August of this month now. Well, as of tomorrow, yeah. So check it out. He just had a couple of teams drop out and a couple of guys pull in, and so you can always find a team that somebody had drafted, like Amy Wykes chose the 1930 Athletics. That's a really good team, and it's available. And I had second pick in the draft, so I went to 54 Yankees. But the 30, even I'm thinking about, maybe I should claim the 30 Athletics, and that's what I'm saying. Anybody that's listening to this could probably call up Ron and say, "Hey, can I have the 30 Athletics?" And probably have a good chance of doing well, because the Wykes are always great. They're always in the finals. They're always, in the playoffs. They're an excellent baseball APBA family, and so they live out of I think Leesburg, Virginia, somewhere near there, somewhere close there. I can't remember the county, but anyway, I haven't been there, but I just know where they live because I used to be from the DC area too. So anyway, good.
Well, Jack, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, sorry I talk too much, but that's just who I am.
Nah, it's perfect.
All right.
Great.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Jeff.
Take care.
All right. See you later. Bye.